A typical React application may consist of multiple quote-unquote pages, meaning that you have multiple views and you want a way of navigating among the views. When we develop any website, for example, a website consists of multiple pages and we provide the navigation through the use of a navigation bar or links to be able to go to the different pages of our website. Now, within a web application also, you might have multiple pages and you want to be able to navigate among the views that are rendered by these various pages. So this is where the React router comes to our aid. The React router module, we install it into our React application and then take the help of the various features provided by the React router module to enable us to navigate among the views of our application. Let's learn a little bit more detail about this. Later on, we will learn more about single page applications in the next lesson, where we will see how we can leverage the React router to implement the single page applications. Continuing with our discussion about React router, a React router is a collection of navigational components. These are React components themselves, and these React components enable us to navigate among various views or navigate among various pages. Now, the React router itself provides router components, then route matching components, and navigation components. We'll look at the use of each of these kinds of the route components and how we employ them for providing navigation among the views of our application. The React router itself supports a browser-based bookmarkable URLs for all the pages that we have within our application, and each view itself will have its own associated URL. So you need to be able to interpret these URLs in a way that you navigate to the different pages of your application. Now, when we study single page applications, it will become even more clearer that even though your web application occupies one single page, internally the views can be navigated amongst each other, and the navigation is affected by the use of bookmarkable URLs. Now, when you use URLs to specify which view of your application to navigate to, you also may pass in parameters through the URL quote-unquote links that we define. Now, again, this will become even more clearer as we make use of React router in the exercise that follows this lecture. To provide web app routing, we first install the React router DOM into our React application. So since we are implementing a web application, we'll use React router DOM to implement the React. And this makes available to us a router component. And one of the router components is a browser router component. So this browser router component will be applied within one of our components in our application, and this enables the browser router to provide us with a specialized history object that enables us to navigate among the pages, just like the way we navigate among the various pages in a website. If you are using a static file server, then there is a corresponding component called as the hash router, which enables you to do navigations to URLs that contain hashes. In our application, we will be using plain URLs without the hash. So that's why I will apply the browser router component in order to provide the navigation among the various views. And this browser router encloses your app. Now, in order to determine which view to navigate to, as I mentioned, the URLs are a way of identifying which view to navigate to. So this is where the route matching components provided by React router come to our help. The route matching components include the route and the switch. The route component enables us to specify a path property which specifies the current location's path name. So this is the URL part that will be interpreted to represent a particular view. So each view will be identified by its own URL. And the route component's prop specifies the corresponding view of the application. So we would be specifying a path and also the corresponding component to which you navigate to when this path is used in the URL. Now, you can also apply the exact attribute to the route component, and this will ensure that the URL exactly matches when we navigate to that. You can also provide a default by using the redirect component. So the redirect will specify the default URL to which you will be redirected if any of the other paths do not match with any of the routes that you specify within your application. Now, if you have a bunch of routes that you specify, bunch of route components, you group them together using a switch component. And so this way, whenever the URLs are navigated to, then this will iterate over all the children to find that particular component or that particular route that matches the URL and then appropriately navigates to that view. Again, in the exercise, it will become even more clearer how this is useful. Within your application, in order to provide a clickable way of navigating to the various views of your application. Now, if you are using a website, for example, you use the A tag with the href in order to provide the links to which you navigate, the different pages to which you navigate. In a web application, you use the link or the nav link component that is provided by React Router, which enables us to specify the link for the various quote-unquote URLs and the corresponding views within your application. So when you use a link tag, then it'll render it as an A in the HTML, and so a click on that will enable you to navigate to that particular view within your React application. A nav link, when we use that in our application, will also add an active CSS class to the particular link that you specify whenever the prop matches that particular link that is specified. So that way, when you want to identify which particular quote-unquote page you are in the navigation bar, then the nav link enables us to do that. Now, in Bootstrap, we had also learned about how to apply the active CSS class to a particular link in our navigation header to highlight that particular link to identify which page we are currently in. So the same kind of feature is supported by the nav link that is provided by React Router or the React Router DOM that we will use in our application. So with this quick understanding of React Router, let's proceed ahead to the next exercise where we will take our React application that we have been working on and then enable us to navigate between the various pages of our React application.